All right, so I think we'll begin with the webinar as more people keep on joining. So thank you everyone for being here today, on a Monday evening. So, this has been, I'm sure that a lot of you have already heard a little bit about the Virtual Voyage program, but we are going to be using this webinar to provide more information about what specifically this program is all about and how we are helping schools all around the world to create this special student exchange program that is happening virtually through the platform of Saathi Global Education Network. So a little bit of introduction. I'm the founder and CEO of Saathi Global Education Network, Karthik Sarda. And, before we take a deep dive into this whole topic, I would like to share a little bit about how I even came upon this idea of virtual voyages and what kind of theme we're following here. So before beginning with Saathi Global Education Network, I was working with students from many different international countries, especially on a one-on-one level with American students about 2 years from now and 2 years before now. And while interacting with these students on a personal level, what I noticed was that there was a lot of focus on skill development for these students when they were looking at applications, either in colleges or for jobs or internships. And secondly, there was a learning gap amongst them when it came to problem solving. Like they would know about some issues, but their approach was more from a learning point of view rather than a problem solving point of view. And that's sort of the when interacting with these students, when I learned about this, that's where I came up with the idea of virtual voyages, and we started building a whole platform around it and a whole model around it. So I'll talk a little bit more about this and how we are including various topics and global issues into the whole model of this virtual exchange program. But before that, let's go over the agenda for this webinar. So we'll talk a little bit about our team at Saathi Global Education Network and some of the registered members of the platform. And then we'll take a deep dive into the program itself. We'll talk about the structure, the mentor profiles who are going to be working with the students, the different skill development categories that we focus on, the weekly themes, and how we use inquiry-based experiential learning into various tasks, benefits to students, registration process, any costs associated with it, and lastly, contact details. So let me introduce the team that we have with us. So that's me, Karthik Sarda. I'm the CEO at Saathi Global Education Network. Along with me, I had Priyank Nagarnayak, who actually started this whole platform together with me way back in December 2019. And recently to join us are Mr. Anil Kumar Laham, who is going to be the Director of Partnerships and Sponsorships for us, and Ms. Rajni Julka, who is our Chief Mentor and Director of School Communications. You might, some of you guys already might know Ms. Rajni Julka because she has been a member of the Indian Principals Association. So, and I think she just became the additional director for that organization as well. And lastly, we have Mr. Shrikant Nanepalli, who is the Director of People and Culture. The reason why I'm going over these profiles is because all the communication that will be happening with the schools, in the future will be taken care of through Ms. Julka, and all the mentors that we're going to be hiring in the company who are core to the whole Virtual Voyages program. Mr. Shrikant is actually going to be in charge of extensively interviewing and making sure that the hiring process is great for those mentors. This is a list of a few schools that are members of our platform. So far, we have had more than 80 schools to register in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And these are 10 schools that, that we picked for this list today who have been verified and active on the platform. In total, we have more than 12 countries covered so far. And by the end of the year, we are planning to add more than 750 schools in the platform by December 31st from more than 40 different countries. As you can see, some of these schools are ranging from the Middle East to the South Asia, Southeast Asia, the North America, and the European regions. So let's take a deep dive into what virtual voyages actually are and how we are helping students gain multiple different skill sets and cultural exchange, while at the same time making sure that they're ready for various professional interviews and professional internships and team collaborations. So our structure is actually quite simple. We take 5 students from one school, we pair them up with 5 students from another school. So that's what this diagram represents. Although we can take many more students than 5 students, but in one particular group, we'll only have 5 students, exactly 5 students in that one group. So we take 5 students from one school, pair them up with 5 students from another school, and this second school could be from anywhere around the world, right? And these 10 students together are what form a virtual voyage. Now, these 10 students are going to be assigned a global issue that they'll be working with other students for a period of 4 weeks. The global issue that we are assigning for the month of September is economic impact of COVID-19 across the world. In October, we are ranging these global issues from fake news and democracies to data protection laws around the world, and again, economic impact of COVID-19. So as we move further into the year, we'll keep on adding more and more options for schools to pick from for choosing a global issue for their students. These 10 students are also going to be assigned a mentor that will be working personally with the students. And for a period of 4 weeks, these students are going to be doing various tasks that range from quests, missions, and adventures. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about quests, missions, and adventures in a later slide, but it's our way of gamifying the whole platform and making sure that students are enjoying what they're doing through an incentive program that we have running throughout the 4 weeks. While they are working on various tasks in order to solve the problem that has been assigned to them, which is basically a global issue, they'll be meeting with industry experts throughout the program. Like, for example, if a student is interested in finance, they'll be meeting with a chartered accountant. If the topic is economic impact of COVID-19, they might meet a healthcare worker or an economist, and so on. We'll make sure that these experts are interacting directly with the students, right? So they can have, they can keep on learning from these people. Along with that, we are also partnering up with many small to mid-sized businesses who are looking for high school students and first-year college students for various internship opportunities. Now, the benefit that these companies have and the reason why these companies prefer our students is because they know that these students are, one, working in diverse teams over topics from a problem-solving point of view, which is actually required and sought after by a lot of these companies. Right. So that's why they prefer giving these internship opportunities to the students that have actually worked with virtual voyages in the past. Along with all of these things, we'll provide the students with participation certificates at the end of the program. And along with all of this, we'll also be running a Young Explorer Award, which is a very prestigious award given to one student every month and 12 students overall throughout the year who have participated in virtual voyages. The age group for the Virtual Voyage program is 13 to 18 years old, so 8th grade to 12th grade students. And there's actually a big scientific reason behind this, because when the students are in this particular age group, their minds are still developing, and the neural connections that they're making during this time are best suited for developing their skill sets and putting them into a specialized direction in which they are, they might be making their career out of in the future. So if you're exposing the students to these various fields right from the beginning, right from the 13 years olds, it just adds on. It just gives them an advantage over someone who's starting a lot later in their life, right? So that's why this age group is perfect for a virtual voyage program, participating in various fields. Also, a school can have multiple groups of 5 students participating with multiple different countries and multiple different schools around the world. So, for example, let's say XYZ school from India wants 40 students to participate in this program, and we have 8 other schools available for this program. Then we'll match all 40 students to 8 different groups, ranging from maybe India, USA, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, right? Different countries from which these schools are available, right? So that's what that's the biggest benefit, I think, when it comes to the diversity, because students talk amongst themselves, they talk to their friends, they talk about their achievements, and at the same time they'll be talking about the various cultural differences that they'll notice while working throughout the program, right? There's a very common saying that I always have on my mind, is that if you want to teach a student English for the first time, give them a grammar book or give them a movie to watch and they might learn something, but give them a friend to talk to in English and they learn English a lot more quickly, right? So that's the kind of learning that we also want to promote through this whole program, because the cultural diversity that students can get while working with multiple different countries together is something that I don't think has been achieved virtually ever before. So yeah, so that's the basic overview of the whole program. Let's deep dive into the details here. By the way, if you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A session after this presentation is done. And you can also start posting those questions in the chat, just in case. Let's talk a little bit about the mentors. So I'll be one of the mentors who will be working directly with the students for our programs this year. Along with me, there will be highly qualified and educated entrepreneurial mindsets who will be working with these students. All of these people, as you can see on the screen, are very well educated and coming from different parts of the world, right? From India, Vietnam, USA, etc. So we'll make sure that the students are getting a diverse set of mentors as well throughout the program to work with them. And these mentors will be guiding them for various activities ranging in these 5 different categories. Now, the way we decide these categories is by taking a detailed survey of the students before the program starts. So each of these 5 students from each school are going to be assigned one of the categories from these marketing, research, creativity, commerce, and technology. Each student is going to be specializing in one of these categories, and all the tasks that they're going to be getting are going to be catered towards one of these skill building categories that they have been assigned. And the detailed survey that we take asks them about their interests, about their hobbies, about their career goals, about the past projects that they've participated in. Based on all of that, we do a complete study of each and every single student that has responded. And then we assign them specific tasks that are customized according to their learning abilities, right? So all of the major fields which are highly in demand right now in today's world are being covered through the program, through this 4-week program. Each week we follow a particular theme. So week 1 is more about introductions and cultural exchange. It's more about breaking ice between the students because they're going to be strangers to each other and they're coming from different countries, different backgrounds. So we train them throughout the first week about various platforms that we are using, how to interact with each other, how to do professional communication, how to use tools like Trello, Excel, Discord, Slack, right, Photoshop, and so on. And how to differentiate between good data versus bad data, how to use tools like Google Scholar for research purposes, and so on. So first week is all about training and getting them to know each other. While from week 2 onwards, we begin the real activities. For example, building up, coming up with a business model. Now, whenever a problem is assigned to the students, there are only 3 possible pathways that they can take. So for example, let's say economic impact of COVID-19, which is our topic for the month of September. There are 3 ways of looking at this particular topic. One is the entrepreneurial point of view. If there has been an economic impact, how can we build a sustainable model to address this problem? Or a social way, right? How can you build a nonprofit, a functioning nonprofit that will help out a lot of people who are suffering because of this problem? The third way of looking at it is from a scientific point of view, where they can work on how to address that particular problem through a scientific research or through a scientific discovery, right? So that's what week 2 is going to be focusing upon. And then we move to week 3, which is news, research, and technology. And this is where students will learn more about how to find the correct data, how to support whatever thesis they have, how to support whatever the models they have created, etc. And lastly, week 4 is going to be about conclusions and presentations, where if they've come up with a business model, then they'll be pitching that. If they've come up with a social model, they'll be pitching that. Or if they have come up with a scientific model of addressing that particular problem, then they'll be presenting that to the audience. And here we'll also have expert guests. Teachers from each school can also join in these presentations, and these presentations will also be shared with the school that the students belong to. Moving on and talking a little bit more about the gamification, the kind of tasks that the students will be doing, right? So as mentioned before, we have divided all the tasks that the students are going to be participating in into quests, missions, and adventures. And these range from the level of difficulty. So quests are the easiest tasks, like just watching a video or reading a blog, while missions and adventures are more focused on collaboration and engagement and the learning of the students. So missions range from taking an interview, watching various tutorials. We don't really focus much on writing except for the marketing students who want to write blogs or designing graphics and so on. While adventures are once a week tasks, which are going to involve every single person from that group, all 10 students, into achieving a common goal. Like, for example, coming up with a business model or building a social media campaign or creating a song or an informative play. So students will get rewarded for various types of tasks that they do in order to increase that gamification aspect of the whole program. This is what a task normally looks like. So we use Trello for all project management when it comes to the students. And we also make sure that the students are familiar with this platform in the first week itself. Reason for picking Trello is, one, it's massively used throughout the world. And if this goes on a student's resume, then their chances of getting into a good company just increases massively. Along with that, Trello has a very friendly UI, so students don't take that much time in adapting to this, considering that most of the students are usually tech savvy. So this is what a normal task is going to look like. I'm sure that some of you might have already used Trello in the past. So this is what a normal task would look like, where we would have different checklists, different descriptions for the tasks, different labels, different members that will be added to the task that they'll be collaborating with, and so on. So this is just a demo screenshot, of a particular task from the training board on the Trello for the students. Now let's talk about the real things here, right? Student benefits. So why should students be doing this over some of the other activities that might be keeping them busy? And there's a plethora of reasons for this. For me, the top three are right here: objective and critical thinking, early boost for their career options, and social impact and awareness. And I'll tell you why. My whole vision, and I think our company's whole vision, is to make sure that we are providing students with problem solving and critical thinking abilities, which I'm sure that every single school that is present here is also doing. But we want to do that from an outsider point of view, not from an academic point of view. And I think that is very, very important and valuable in today's world, when everything is going virtual, and when most of the colleges and most of the companies around the world are focusing more on the skill sets and the personalities of the students, rather than things that are just available on a piece of paper, right? So our whole objective here is to make sure that students are thinking scientifically, objectively, and they are approaching anything from a problem-solving point of view. Along with that, one of the biggest benefits that they get is they'll be interacting with companies, and they'll be interacting with industry leaders. So that gives them an early boost for their career options. They'll also be getting participation certificates that especially focuses on their skills. And they will also be getting recommendation letters, progress reports from the mentors. So all of these are a big boost for them to proceed with a career of their choice. And lastly, social impact and awareness, which might actually be the most important benefit out of all of this, because like mentioned in the very beginning, I think that gap that exists amongst the students when it comes to global learning, global issues versus their local issues, which normally they, let's be honest, in today's world, mainly hear from social media, are, there's a huge gap there between true information and impactful information versus the information that our students are getting. So I think with these programs focusing specifically on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and on the global issues which are recognized internationally, is gonna, and from a diverse perspective, because they're working with other international students, it's gonna boost their impact and awareness from a social point of view, and build them into more empathetic leaders in the future. Right, along with that, all the other hardcore benefits like boost to their scholarship applications or learning technical tools and software, or even the certificates and stuff that they'll be getting throughout the program are more tangential benefits of the program. Let's talk about registration, because I know that all of you are sold at this point. So on the left, you can see a snapshot of the image of what our platform looks like, the online platform looks like for a school. Now, that's what the first step is all about. So to register for Virtual Voyages, it's a simple 4-step process where you need to register your school at our online platform called Saathi Global Education Network. Some of the schools that are present here today have already done that. So you have already finished step 1. Step 2 is to make sure that we have the parents' consents for the students' participation in the program, specifically because we are going to be working on global issues, which might sometimes expose students to sensitive content. And then step 3, to register students through the enrollment form. Now, this is the form that I was talking about initially, where we take a detailed survey of the students about their interests, hobbies, past projects, etc. And lastly, we have any fees that are associated with the program, in case applicable, will be processed at the end. So what are the costs for the whole program? So straight up, I just want to focus on this green box here, that the program is actually free for all the schools for the first 10 students. So I would highly encourage in exploring this particular option, because irrespective of what you might think you're gaining or not gaining out of the program, you can run a pilot program for your school, and you can see the impact that it has on the students with this free pilot that is offered to every single school that is participating in the Virtual Voyages. However, if there are more than 10 students that the school wants to participate with, then the fees are associated with the country that the school is based in. So for example, here, if the school is based in India, then the base cost per student is rupees 3,000. Now, if the school is booking anywhere between 30 to 55 students, then they get a 20% discount. If they're booking anywhere between 60 to 85 student slots, then they get 30% discount on that base price, which becomes 2,100 rupees per slot. And if they're booking 90 plus students for the platform, then they get a 40% discount for the whole program. And of course, these 10 students can be added to these discounts. Base price for other countries are available in this sheet. So I'll be sharing this slide with everyone. So if you want to refer to other countries' costs, you can definitely refer to this sheet itself. And lastly, why choose us over any other services that might potentially be offering similar things? So, I want to focus on these 3 specific reasons, especially the first one, the reduced workload. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because, think about this scenario where maybe you want to have, maybe you want to run a program for your school, for your students, where you're inviting industry leaders, or you want to run a student exchange program for your students, or maybe teacher training, faculty exchange programs, or just, a regular function for the students. Or maybe you want to help your students build skill sets and are partnering up with some other organizations that specializes in producing video content for your students that specifically focus on that, on skill development. Now, the thing is, imagine the workload that keeps on adding on the coordinators, on the staff, and on the administrative staff when organizing all of these various activities together from different avenues. The reason why we think that this could help reduce a lot of workload for school officials is because students can get all of these things which are outside of their curriculum, of their academic curriculum, within just one program, whether it's interacting with companies, whether it's interacting with industry leaders, whether it's certification programs, whether it's trainings, whether it's skill development, whether it's international collaborations. You talk about it, and this program is going to have that. Along with that, our online platform, the Saathi GEN platform, where the schools would have to create their accounts, it already provides a lot of these other perks, such as faculty exchange programs, certifications, trainings, all of these things. So every single thing that is happening outside of the academic curriculum of school can potentially happen on just one platform. And that, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why a school would be benefiting from this. Other than this, we also have a technical advantage. So our team is highly technically savvy, and we have very efficient platforms for carrying out these activities. So that it's a big advantage for all the students and schools who are participating in this program. And lastly, healthy PR for the schools, right? If you have international programs running with multiple different countries at the same time, it's just good content for a lot of publications, a lot of media houses. Also, if you want to host webinars, workshops, any kind of certifications for your schools, if you want to share these programs with your parents, if you want to share profiles, teacher profiles, or school profiles with potential admissions, new admissions, all of these can happen again through this one platform and within one place. So it's a good boost to the PR. Plus, we also keep on hosting various events, and we also keep on partnering up with various media outlets. And we keep on highlighting these schools that are members of Saathi Global Education Network. So that's the added benefit of participating in these programs with us. So from a student point of view, there are many different benefits, but from a school point of view as well, there are numerous benefits that are associated with participating in these programs. So that's all from my end. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think there are a couple of questions in the chat. Or let's see. Okay. No, I think these weren't questions. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, Pooja, I think you can allow participants to unmute. I think you can just unmute yourself and ask any questions if you may have.
Have you conducted any kind of the program before? Is this the first time we are doing it? So
our first full virtual voyage program is actually going to be running in September, but we have done smaller pilot projects with students, with more than 40 students from India and the US before. And these students were given various activities, like the activities that I mentioned before, as sort of a proof of concept that will students be enjoying the activities mentioned here or not. And I'm happy to say that 95% of the students who participated gave us a 10 out of 10 rating for these programs. And I can share the survey results with you, after this webinar as well. Yeah.
One more question is, when we are picking up the students, do we check in what kind of students? Because, children of this age group generally have a tendency of going out of the board. Is there any control or any kind of a tab which monitors what is that they discuss? How are things taken care?
Yeah, definitely. So the school is going to be picking the students and making sure that they are enrolling for the program. So it's up to the school what kind of students they want to pick for the program. But from our end, yes, that's the whole reason why the mentor is going to be assigned to the program, because the mentor is going to be keeping track of all the chats and discussions that are happening between the students regarding the project. We also have peer review happening where we keep track of every single student's activity that is taking place on the program. And also any kind of problems that might occur during the program for a student, maybe in terms of misunderstandings or anything that might in a rare situation occur. The mentor is going to be communicating that directly with all the teachers. Plus we record all the meetings and sessions and we share those with the schools as well throughout the program.
Generally exchange programs happen during the vacation time when it is a physical one. Now, is the virtual one also during that period, or is this during the regular school time? How is that planned out?
So this is happening throughout the year. Whenever the school is ready or available for these programs, they can start participating in it. We are conducting these programs every single month of the year. So yeah, it's whenever your school is available, whenever your students are available, you can start participating in these programs.
Do they get the choice of their school with whom they want to go in for an exchange?
That depends upon the availability of those other schools. So if we have multiple schools that are available, like right now, as I mentioned, we are still building our database. Currently, we have around 80 schools that are part of the platform. But by the end of this year, we'll have more than 700 schools based on the current rate. So yes, hopefully in the future, we'll have a lot more choices, and not just for the schools and countries, but also for the topic that is given to the students. But right now, we are the ones who are controlling that on our end.
Can we get in detail more the kind of schools connected to our mail IDs? If you can share it in the chat box, something where we can talk to the management also. I am a principal of a school, so surely I would want to put the proposal across to the management too. So any further detailing or the PPT which you've shared it now, which gives the insight about the organization, the people behind it and all that stuff?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I won't be able to share the emails for protecting the privacy of the members. But what you can do is you can register your school at Saathi Global Education Network, and then you can just start connecting with these schools. So that way you'd be able to directly get in touch with them via email, messaging, or even calls. So yeah, so you can do that.
Fine. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So we have a few more questions in the chat. So Ms. Alpana, thank you for asking. What would be the frequency and would it be an after-school activity? So the frequency is, I'm not really sure if you mean the frequency of the activities or the frequency of the program. So I'll answer both. As mentioned before, the program runs throughout the year. So a school can have multiple virtual voyages going on throughout the year. In terms of the tasks, the students will be doing tasks on a daily basis. On average, we have created the curriculum in such a way that the students will be spending anywhere between 5 hours to 7 hours a week into these tasks, majorly focusing on the weekends. In terms of it being an after-school activity or not, that also depends upon the students' availability. So in the enrollment form, we ask the students about when they are available. So whether it's a recess or whether it's after school or whether it's during the night, etc. Plus, it also depends upon the devices that the students have available with them, right? So some students might not have access to laptops or computers, so they might want to use the school's computer labs and so on. So it depends upon various factors which the school and we together discuss based on what is best for their students. So we have a lot of flexibility in terms of the timing for these activities. Hopefully that answers your question. Next, so Mr. Siddharth Rajgaria, thank you for asking. Would love to get some more info on the activities and the surveys. So I'll make sure to email you the detailed brochure about these programs. In fact, all of the people who are present here and all the members will be emailing every single detail about this program to all of you who are present here today. Next question is from Ms. Jaya. What would be the time commitment required for each student? So to answer this question, again, anywhere between 5 hours to 7 hours per week is what we are focusing on. It is possible that the last week for the students might be a little hectic because they'll have to give presentations and they might be interacting with a lot of industry leaders during that time. And if they want to, they'll be interacting with small to mid-sized businesses as well. So to cover all of that, they might invest a little bit more time than usual. What is the time of the day for these collaborations? Again, we are very flexible depending upon the availability of the students and the schools. With that, it depends upon each virtual voyage, and the mentor sort of finalizes that based on the responses received from the students. The duration of each session, so each virtual voyage lasts for 4 weeks. So the students will be participating in the program for 4 weeks straight. That's basically the duration of the whole program. And again, we can have multiple virtual voyages running in multiple schools. So it's not necessary that only 5 students at a time will be working. It's totally possible that we'll have 40 to 50 students from a school participating throughout the 1 month period for these programs. Yeah, I think that was the last question in the chat. Hopefully this answers all the queries. Thanks, you're welcome. Let me know if there's any other question.
Yeah, I have another question, Karthik. Yeah. Suppose we have tied up and there's a school assigned, that is where we need to collaborate and work. Once we get to know about the school, suppose we are not comfortable with that school. Is there a possibility that it can change, or what's the sign?
Definitely. So if you're not happy with the school, then or not comfortable working with a particular school, we can definitely change that. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. And of course, we'll appreciate knowing the reason, or because we'll have to get that to the other school as well. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely possible. No problems there.
But how do you all coordinate, especially with the time zones different from US and India? How do you all work on that?
So that's where the enrollment form again comes into place. So we ask students about their availabilities and we manage a complete calendar for the students. So the mentor is responsible for managing the whole calendar for the students. And we arrange the meetings and the tasks in such a way that it fits each student's schedule. So that's what I mean when I say personalized tasks for the students. It's based upon their availability and based upon their time zones, right? Because I know that it's one of the bigger challenges when even when having regular virtual exchange programs, even for a day or two, right? Because you have to manage those time zones and coordinate everything. So our mentors are trained in such a way that they can address these problems and manage the calendars of the students in order to address this particular problem.
Thank you so much, Karthik.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. So if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to email us at info@saathign.com. You can also text me on this phone number, and please feel free to follow our LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube pages as well. Lastly, if you have anyone that you know in your network who might also be interested in these programs, please, I would really appreciate if you could reach out to them and tell them about this opportunity as well, because we are still growing and we are looking to collaborate with as many schools as possible at this point. So that would be highly appreciated. Thank you once again so much for attending on a Monday night. And take care, everyone.